What's up, guys? This is Hyce, and welcome to Office Hours for June? Shrug? This was supposed to be Montezuma Tuesday, but the French said no. What are you gonna do? Every time I refresh the SolidWorks launcher, there's just nothing. No matter what I do. I tried dozens of times. And, yeah. So, you know, just pay $100 a year and don't get to use your program. Thanks, Dassault. You're great. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to do office hours instead. So here we are. Yes, office hours. We're going to talk about and answer all of your burning railroad questions. As always, I have pre-asked questions from God knows how long ago they were that we'll get to. And then as well, of course, top chats and everything are always appreciated, and we'll go through all that. But anyway, without further ado, I see we've got a couple top chats here from Matt Houston. You made it. How's it going, Hyce? Conductor, 17 months. Doing well, thank you. Pacific Productions, fireman for 7 months. You bought a Zuiki train controller for Daisha to Go Japanese train sim on Switch, only for it to ship defective. Please press F. F. That is very sad. Tomica Clive, great job, SolidWorks. Have great office hours. Yeah, Christ. Brakeman, 7 months, thank you. Brett Weebold, what's your favorite train? Eat shit and die. Anyways. Coaster Fan 5363 Brakeman for 8 months. Why is Vauquelin not great? Seems okay theoretically. Ah, yes! It is quite good in the theoretical lands. It's quite bad in the actual production lands. It's a lot of extra manufacturing, a lot of extra complexity, a lot of extra maintenance, a lot of extra packing. All for a mild efficiency benefit. The efficiency benefit does not outweigh the rest of it. So, anyway, yeah. From Pacific Productions, it cost me $160. You're totally not salty about it. Oh my god. Well, hopefully they'll at least get you a refurb or something, or a warranty situation. So, anyway. I see that Johnny's in chat, so we're gonna jump in and have Johnny on as well. Say howdy, my friend.
How you all doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I am alive.
Sounds like you work for the railroad.
Every day of my life.
Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, we've got some good pre-asked questions, and actually this one is one that you could probably speak to better than I could. From Michael's Trains 4014, can you go into proper communications with dispatch / good dispatching practices? I went to a model railroad ops session recently where dispatch told me I used too many words. LOL, it's piqued my interest as to how to keep directions, acknowledgement concise while having a clear understanding of what dispatch expects me to do. Before you add in your experience, Johnny, Lord knows that anything with model railroad involving multiple humans tends to involve, you know, personalities that are a joy to be around, and people that have specific things. But anyway, I would assume it's the same as typical radio communication practice, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say, Johnny.
Every time I've ever talked to a dispatcher, we always try and keep everything short, sweet, and simple. So it's mostly like, train designation, engine number, length, tons, axles, loads, empties, where we got to work, if we don't have any work en route, are we a hazardous key train or not, and then we just go from there.
Okay, so yeah, you go over all the big details of this is who I am, and these are all the parameters you need as dispatch, and then you have a conversation from there. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of my conversations usually go, hey, we're going to send you up to the signal, and you're going to sit and wait 2 hours for a train. Okay, we'll do that.
That sounds about right, yeah. I had a feeling that would be the case. But yeah, dispatch needs to know who you are. You know, are you important? Key train, hazmat, anything. And how big you are. You know, do you fit in this hole? Personal question. And once you've I
don't fit in many holes, but that's besides the point.
Well, yeah, precision scheduled, as it were. Yeah, and from there you can do what you got to do. So yeah, keeping everything short, concise, and focusing on only the information that's needed.
I can actually go grab my book and tell you exactly what I told my dispatcher the other day.
Oh, that could be fun. Yeah, I mean it's usually. In my case, in radio, anything it is, hey, brakeman 491 to 491, shove eastbound, start with 5 cars to the switch, brakeman on the ground, blah, blah, blah.
Everybody.
Only key details that are needed, nothing else. So, and if they're giving you shit over that, I mean, wouldn't be surprised. I see all manner of lovely member top chats coming in here. I want to go through a couple more pre-asked questions. We'll say hi to you guys in a second. From Caden Caro.
Go through this?
Oh, yeah, if you got it up now, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, pull it up.
So, the other day, it went something simple like this. Toned up the dispatcher. Dispatcher comes over. B4 1915, dispatch. Dispatch answers. We go B14 1915, conductor stump, engineer Greg on duty 2100 hours, dispatcher bulletin 67271. We're leaving here today with 110 loads, 0 empties, 14,514 tons, 5,978 feet. We got 440 axles going Russell to Columbus. We are not a key train, no work en route, PTCTO operational.
All details and everything that dispatch would need to know. Yeah, perfect. So hopefully that helps. I mean, that's definitely overkill for a model railroad for our friend here, but that's the way that the real guys do it. So,
yep.
From Caden Caro, you heard in the live stream or video, you don't remember which, that 491 is possibly going back up to 200 psi. How much would need to be done to her before that could happen, if it's happening at all? That will be happening. She is presently operating at 185 with a maximum allowable of 188. And that is based on some fun things. Let me go dig up a picture here. Engineering and railroading are an interesting bunch to get into this question here. So 491's got a patch on her boiler that does not meet the modern math, which is why she does not run at 200. Designed to run at 200, doesn't now. So we're taking you back to circa 2015 here. Who's the child in the steam dome? No idea. Anyway. Yeah. Who's the child in the boiler? Still don't know. Anyways, so she's got a lot of patches in her first course, because her first course is the only part of the boiler that's still original to the C41. So this is from 1902. The rest of it was replaced later on. So you've got the old injector inlets that were patched over. She's got a big belly patch that's internal that was riveted in. And then she's got the stop sign. The stop sign is problematic. And the stop sign, well, it is and it isn't. The stop sign is problematic in modern engineering designations, and there's a reason why, and this is actually a fun discussion piece, so we'll kind of go through this. So in order for a boiler to be certified to operate with the modern code, you have to have a safety factor of 4, which means that everything needs to be over-engineered by a factor of 4, and that accounts for the wear in this. You could see that, okay, this is a 5/8 nominal sheet, so 0.625, and nominal because some of it's bigger, because back in the day they rolled sheets and they were, you know, typically a little bit larger than whatever the nominal was. And you can see stuff that, oh, 0.63, that's great, 0.63, that's great. Over here, 0.598, okay, we've had some wastage. The safety factor of 4 gives you a good barrier against any of that wastage. When you're looking at a patch that is a riveted patch into a boiler, you're trying to figure out the effective strength of the patch, because each one of these rivets has to remove material from the boiler itself to be applied, in which case you're making the boiler shell less strong, but you're adding in a nice thick piece of material. You can see that this is a much larger, it was like a 7/8 or 3/4 nominal patch. So everything's, you know, in the 800, so it's much thicker material briefly, which is quite strong, but you need to know, okay, well, how strong is the joint? And the way you do it is by calculating a seam efficiency, which means, okay, I'm going to take a slice of the boiler and I'm going to go, okay, how much area was removed by the shank of the rivet? Okay, and so how much strength do I have in that much boiler plate minus the 2 holes there? Okay, and then how much is the shear strength of the rivets being tried to be broken in half, like a pair of scissors were clamping down on them? Okay, if you answer those 2 questions, and then you do a little bit of a calculation in a formula, you can figure out how strong that is, and then determine, okay, what is the effective stress there? Is it cool? Is it going to give us the same safety factor? And so this patch on 491 was applied in 1930. It has been on her boiler barrel, which has operated at 200 psi from 1930 to 1963. It's been on there the whole time. And the railroad did their math, and they came up with, hey, we're going to do a seam efficiency calculation for this seam right here, this because it's an octagon patch. Then we're going to do an angular seam here, and then we're going to do a vertical seam here, because all the primary stress in the boiler is going up down in this picture, right? So your primary stress is hoop stress, party, PR/T. In this direction, the stresses that go sideways are significantly less. And so the railroad did, okay, well, here's our horizontal or longitudinal seam. Here's our vertical seam. And then we've got kind of a other, you know, transition seam in the middle there. That was the way that they did the math. And per the railroad's math, it had a safety factor of 4, and they were happy, and they ran it that way for, you know, 33 years, basically. There's a little crack in the shell and right here, and it's an itty-bitty little crack. But welding wasn't a thing, you know, at least to the effect it is today in 1930 in terms of actual arc welding that could have penetrated enough to take care of it. So they put this ginormous, awful, stupid patch over it. And the big thing about seam efficiencies is that it is based on the rivet pitch, which is the distance between rivets. And so it's important to calculate the distance between those rivets. And the modern code has a lot of good formulas for standard patches like circles or squares or something. It doesn't have great provisions for, checks notes, a fucking octagon applied by the Rio Grande. Why did you do this? You know, okay. The Rio Grande did their math, but the modern code doesn't apply for it. So the modern code goes, you need to calculate the efficiency within the seam of the patch. So the modern code says, hey, you need to figure out what the worst seam is there. And so it says, hey, and we do the math, this is the worst seam. And it's based on rivet pitch, right? So it's the distance between rivets. The Rio Grande said, we got this guy, and then we've got this guy, and then this guy is a vertical guy separately. Modern code does not say that. The modern code says, hey, you've got a rivet pitch here, and then you've got a little itty-bitty one right here. And this is what fucks it. Right there, that distance between those rivets. If it was just 1/8 of an inch more, it would solve the problem in terms of the math. Is it kind of crappy? Yeah. Is it kind of annoying that, okay, now we have to go through and cut out this patch and weld in a flush patch? Or the options are drill out or flame cut out all the rivets and then weld back in, which is kind of ridiculous, or just cut out the whole sheet and then weld in a new portion of sheet, which is what we plan to do on our next big rebuilds. That will get us back to 200. This is the last thing that affects the safety factor because of that little rivet distance right there. And it ran for 33 years with that, and it was fine, right? And that means it's all fine and all good, and how dare they make the modern code like this? The modern code is good because it covers every situation. You can't make a bespoke drawing and bespoke equation for every shape of patch, because every shape of patch, when you're talking about a riveted patch that's using old bolt holes and old holes that they had to plug and they had to rivet it, nothing is ever going to be truly standard. So the new code doesn't agree with the old math because it is more general, because it applies to more locomotives, and that's the name of the game. And in this day and age, difference of 12 psi doesn't matter to the company in terms of operations. We don't care about 91 running at 200 psi for pulling cars reasons or tonnage reasons. We just care about it because it gives us more headroom, and we'll make her shut the fuck up because, good Christ. 3-inch safety valve is loud, and the higher the pressure is, the harder it is to generate the pressure. And she is an excellent steaming locomotive. So, you know, getting her back towards where she was designed to be at would be good. So, anyway. MK, what's the safety factor of the patch at 200? That's a very simple little equation that we can go through. She's got a safety factor of 4 at 188, right? So if we're at 188, we divide by 200, 0.94 times the 4. It's a 3.76 safety factor at 200 psi then. It's a linear equation. So it's one of those things. And it's like, yeah, okay, this worked, and the railroad said it worked and all that. And it's like, well, you don't always want to trust the railroad's math. Ask me how I know. And also at the same time, it's good to have a standard formula that can be applied. So
I can tell you that you do not trust the railroad's math, even on like trying to figure out how much tonnage you can pull.
And that's a really easy bit of math to do. Yeah.
It is, but they always seem to like try and just go, oh, well, we came up with 2,000 tons. Let's try 2,200 tons.
Dude, there was a time when I worked for BNSF, RIP Interbay, RIP Balmer Yard. They got rid of the whole fucking terminal I used to work at. The shop closed a couple years ago, which wasn't surprising, but they got rid of the hump in Seattle. They got rid of everything, and BNSF allegedly does not follow PSR. Anyway,
allegedly.
There was a time when we had 3 units that needed to go to Spokane from Seattle, and there wasn't a train to Spokane anytime soon, and they needed the power, so we released the units from the shop. It was like a GP30 or a GP38, you know, some small Jeep, and then a couple GP60s, but they were GP60Bs, so B units, no cab, and it was like a total of like 8,000 horsepower maybe or whatever. And okay, it was like, all right, well, we'll put them on the Interbay Everett, the IMB-EV, and it'll go up to Everett, and then we'll put them on EVSPO from there, and because that'll run tomorrow, they'll get the power faster. It'll just work that way. So do that. So we did, and it got up to Everett, and Power Desk or whoever just decided, oh, it's got 3 units on it. That's enough horsepower. It'll make the grade. And they sent, you know, these 3 ancient Jeeps up on this fucking train, up the hill, up Stevens Pass. You know, it's like, it's pretty stout grades. And it was raining and wet and the fall, and there was leaves and the whole 9 yards. And I remember seeing the alerts on my weekend afterwards, like, wasn't our fault. You know, we sent the power up to go up to Everett, you know. they were supposed to rebuild it at Everett and Go, but I remember getting the internal alert saying like, hey, road foreman's en route. Hey, we're gonna need the dog catch crew, and we're gonna need them to bring up a high horsepower engine to toss on the top of this. And then later it was, correction, we're gonna need an additional 2 locomotives. Please send 2 engines from Seattle. And it's like, all right, so you misdid the tonnage calculations by 9,000 horsepower? Nailed it. Just the railroad. Don't trust the math. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a lot of top chats that we need to get to. Mage Leader, okay, we'll never know your favorite train. Keep your secrets then. It's my favorite locomotive manufacturer. You're a Vulcan fan. I don't really have favorites in general. I hate favorite questions because I don't have them like for most anything.
I'll be honest with you, I don't have any favorites either.
Yeah, I mean for locomotives, Baldwin, sure, shrug. But our Schenectady's real nice, and our shop-built Burnham pile of shit's pretty nice. I love her a lot. Shrug. I like Lima because they're 4449, but Lima shit the bed with a lot of stuff. So, shrug. Yeah, don't know what to tell you. Anyway. Solaris, I see that you're back from Camino. Apparently, a clone is too much for YouTube. Yeah. Unfortunately, no clones for me. I did not go to Camino. Thank you for being conductor 9 months. Glenn Holland, fireman 26 months, 3-day weekend of the Roundhouse, and finally wearing a conductor's uniform behind 765. You're still recovering. Gonna try and catch up with you this week. Glad to catch a stream. Hope you're well. Thank you, Glenn. That sounds awesome. A conductor uniform behind 765. Yeah, that's worth the price of admission. Ethan Locke, engineer 21 months, half inspired by your flying bridge in Deer Valley and by GWR's auto coaches. Would modern day technology allow for wireless connection between a control area at the other end of the train and the physical controls? Yeah, it's called distributed power. That's a thing. We have that. That happens all the time. Yeah.
I hate doing DPs on short trains. It's like, why?
It's better in terms of tonnage, apparently, but yeah.
Okay, I'm going to argue with you on that. Just gonna say this now.
You by all means, please do.
The tonnage difference doesn't change if you have a DP unit. The only thing that changes is the slack action that you would get. Like, yes, it's going to run a little bit smoother because you're both pulling and shoving at the same time. But if you know how to run a train, pulling it all from the head end is going to be just fine.
I had a feeling we at BNSF they had different tonnage charts based on DP or not, and I always wondered what the deal was with that because by the math, I agree with you. Like that doesn't make a lick of sense to me. You have the same horsepower, but
yeah. So with CSX, they literally state that, hey, your tonnage does not, like, your tonnage ratings do not change if you're DP. The only thing that changes is where you can have loads and where you can have empties. That's it.
That makes sense. Interesting. Good shout. Gaming Doggo 66, conductor for 20 months. Finally graduate high school and now excited to see what's coming up with the channel. Wondering why do the historical railroads not need a TPC, which I assume is PTC. PTC is only required on commuter railroads or railroads that have commuter hauled things and roads that haul certain types of hazmat. You can look up the CFR if you want to see the specific thing. But it does not apply to historic railroads in any way, shape, or form, really.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think if you ran a train on a main line that is passenger-based with a historic railroad,
correct,
that locomotive has to have
it PTC. Would, yes. Yeah, anytime you're going to run anything, any locomotive that runs on one of those alignments must have PTC. It's based on the alignment and what it serves. So, if you've got commuter traffic, every train better have it. So that means that's why freight roads that run in and out of Chicago or whatever must have PTC for that. And then also the hazmat thing. There might be something else, but it's in 49 CFR Part 236 if you feel like researching the full legalese.
Curious now.
But it
49.
does not have a lick to do with historic railroads. So if they're on their own alignment, they own their own track. If they're not doing commuter service, they don't need it. So, good question. Mole Man, good evening, Hyce and fellow ES&D crew. Just popping in to say hello. Thoroughly enjoy the content. I appreciate that. The kind words are always appreciated. Thanks for being a member for 9 months. Ethan Locke, 2 of 2. If memory serves, the biggest trouble with the GWR method was slack in linkage, making it too easy to over open the throttle, leading to a slip. Ah, I see. If you're thinking of more of steam engines, which, yeah, that makes sense. Glenn Holland, this chat sent because the last one was free. Too kind, my friend. Appreciate you. I am still trying to buy a house. We might be situated. I met with my realtor today. We might be situated, but we shall see. Steam Power, Fireman 6 months. Hey, Hyce, hope all is well and you're feeling better. Good to see you live. Also, these are probably my second favorite stream behind general community streams. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoy. Yeah, I am feeling a fair bit better. Last week was a tough week, but
Ooh, there's a workaround.
Is there?
Yeah, if the passenger train does not exceed 49 miles an hour, it is not required to have PTC.
That's right. I remember that. So yeah, that hits most of the tourist stuff pretty quick. So.
Yep.
Peregrina Engineer 28 months. Damn it, working again. Have fun, gang. Watch the VOD later. Timing, it'd be that way. Nick Best Vader just wanted to say Canada's oldest steam locomotives fired up after 3 years in the shop. Prairie Dog Central number 3, ex-CPR built in Scotland. Stay sane all. That's cool. Thank you. Audrey Tolles, engineer 26 months. Thank you for acknowledging your membership. Appreciate you. Matt the Outcast, you've been struggling with your mental health lately, and the channel update video gave me the help you needed. God bless you, Birdman. I'm glad to hear that. That was the biggest reason why I wanted to talk about it and why I included some of the details I did. Like, that stuff is so important, and it's not fun to talk about, and it's not sexy to talk about. It's like safety. Nobody wants to hear about it, you know?
But we're still in men's mental health month, aren't we?
We are. But those, if you need to hear those sorts of things, you need to hear it. And I know that there are so few dudes out there who open up about that stuff, and that was important for me to share and chat with you guys about. Yeah, it was that was the wombo combo of like my partner's uncle passing away and seeing that and processing that and being helpful for that and knowing the impact that had and everything. It's like, yeah, no, this is important. It's important for me to focus more on me and what's going on in my space. And man, I've the last video that came out on the channel was last Thursday. It was Derail Valley video that was already pre-recorded. I still want to make videos, of course. I enjoy making some of the videos. But like, man, 4 videos a week. Christ, the amount of hours before you think about the museum or the video game or anything. I mean, it's absurd. You're
telling me I'm trying to pre-record a bunch of videos for the new YouTube channel I'm trying to get going.
Godspeed. Tell me more about that in DMs later, and we could chat, and that could be fun. But anyway, right. It's a whole big thing, and it was like I was missing out, and I was feeling like a spectator at the museum, watching the tender that I designed in SolidWorks. Fuck you, Dassault. Get assembled and put together, and I hadn't turned a wrench on it really yet. I mean, I worked on the old one getting stuff off, but I hadn't done anything to the new tender, and it was getting close to not quite done, but it had been a big amount of movement. I'm like, I'm spectating this, and I came back to be a part of this. I felt like I was a spectator when I lived 1,300 miles away, and now I live 20 miles away, and what the fuck am I doing spectating why I moved back for? For another couple, dollars of ad revenue was the big answer, and it was like, no, that, it sucks. YouTube sucks. Being a slave to the algorithm kind of sucks. So it was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a step back, and hopefully things will still work out and we'll figure it out. But it was like, it was getting extremely not great. And then hearing everybody's comments after the fact. Oh my God. You guys were so freaking kind in the comments, and the amount of texts and emails and DMs on Discord and everything that I got from you guys after the fact was incredible and heartwarming. Some people came out of the woodwork that I had not talked to in a while, or that I wouldn't have expected to have said anything did, and a lot of people were like, we were watching you slide, head first across the floor for months now, and it was, it was a big deal and it was important. So I'm happy that change is made. Lord, I've played video games for myself for like the first time in eons, not for content, and enjoyed and reconnected with some friends just last night who I had not talked with, who were very close friends of mine that I hadn't talked with in years because of the YouTube. So yeah, much appreciated. Yeah, Jake was there. Hi, Jake.
I was there.
Yeah, that was spectacular. We'll be doing more of that, and shit. Maybe we'll stream some of that fun, because that shit's fun. It's not gonna be always, because we do things for us. But yeah, clicking on head stream, Factorio stream. Did you say Factorio stream? I'm not enabling you. Know. It's not happening. We will swear an oath to not play Factorio until Century of Steam comes out.
No, see, but the thing is, if you run the Factorio server and I can only log on and play when you're playing and we're streaming, that keeps it in check.
Okay, we'll think about that. I might need it the way it is, either. I might need to limit myself too. But God, I haven't played. They added space, and I haven't gone to. I want to go to space. And Dad, are you space? Yes. Now we're a family again. Anyways, Matt. Long story long. I'm glad that my video helped you with what you were experiencing, because that's the reason I do videos. I want to help people out and give my knowledge and all that stuff. So. Brew the Boomer, conductor, 15 months. Great seeing you at the museum. I had fun talking with you. It was great to see you as well. I was sorry I couldn't spend more time with you. You popped up like right at the same time as my girlfriend's mom was visiting. So that was very important, given especially everything else that was going on. And giving her a cab ride was a special, important thing that I'm going to cherish for a while. So it was good to see you, but I'm sorry I couldn't spend more time with you. W. Muscati, Hyce dude, your ES&D cars keep derailing at the club. Coincidence or design feature? Ever foam trip with the GTO you've recently found joy doing so with your dad's Mustang GT convertible? RIP, cheers friend. Cheers to you. I have seen a lot of the ES&D cars be derailing happy. The big thing that I've noticed is that they tend to do that if you over tighten the trucks. That's just kind of an Acurel thing. So make sure your trucks aren't too tight, and that'll probably help. It's definitely a design feature with the ES&D stuff, but Leighton's had a couple that he's built that have been problematic that we've had at shows, and that's led to some humor and to some pissed off club members, which is a jolliment. But anyway, foam trip with GTO, I have not yet. I really need to. I've threatened to drive to Durango with it before, but I don't know if I want to pay that much in gas. You watch the gas gauge move on that fucking thing. It's
just like my Camaro.
It's literally like, you take a picture of gasoline and dump it and scream, and it's what the car does. It turns gasoline to noise. It does not do anything else really. But yeah, that would be fun. It would be fun to do some foamy trips with it too. Maybe
so
next.
Its new nickname is now Sound Machine.
Pretty much. Next time Big Boy's in town, maybe that'd be fun. I think it's coming down in July sometime. Could be fun to go chase it in the GTO. See if I can get Ed's attention. Anyway, Raven. Oh God,
you in the red GTO.
Yeah, 25 feet. Yeah. Breakman 30 months. Thank you. Everett seriously needed to invest in calculators. Yes, they did. but they didn't. So that's how far back we are. Good Lord. Trying to catch up. William Adams, hopefully you had a chance to both rest up and look after your mental health since the last update. We all want to see you at your happiest. Fun aside, you can actually watch since you're on a break. Look at that. Hello, friend. Yeah. No, there's been a lot of R&R time things since the last video, and it's been nice. And I got to run a Steam Choo-Choo, as mentioned. So, and I went on a lovely date day with the lady as well. So it's been good time since. Octopat 5313, Breakman 22 months. 22 months. See how long I can hobo. It's pretty good. 22 months. We haven't had a pile of birds yet. I did see some memberships come in, but anyway. Dear Mass Cannon, Engineer 26 months. That video the other day hit close to home, so I'd just like to say thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Goodness. Yeah, I guess. In my head, I'm like, the Deero Valley video was the last one to come out, but that was the last one that I made, and that's probably the last one that most people watch. So I'm like, this is the first time we've appeared since, so that makes sense where all the questions are coming from in comments. So glad it helps out, and I appreciate the thanks. And if you ever need to chat, let me know. Feel free to DM or email me, and I'm always happy to share experience. So. Highball 5550, Conductor 29 months. Wasn't expecting this as a birthday surprise. Happy birthday, my friend. You just got back from an overnight motorcycle trip to Eureka Springs. Got to see a very sad Mikado. As one does. Glad the motorcycle trip was fun, though. That sounds neat. Ethan Locke forgot the most important part. Distributed power for Steam. Yeah, you could. You'd have to, put actuators on all of the controls, but I mean, it would. I don't.
Or have some really good radio communication with two engineers.
Yeah, I mean that's the real way to do it, right? And you don't even need radio communication. You just need to feel it. Like, there's so much feel in the seat in your ass as an engineer when you're double heading.
Literally everything that I've been taught when I was going through engine school was you don't run a train based on what you're seeing and your speed. You run on what you feel.
1000%, and that is the biggest thing that I wish. I'm trying to simulate everything I can with Century Steam, and some of the stuff I programmed very recently is bringing a big smile to my face, but. I can't give you the feel of the throttle. I can't give you the feel you get in the seat. And there is so much there that comes, especially with time. When
you get that first big slack action, you really realize when you need to start pulling slower.
Yeah, no, that'll tell you right then and there for sure. But like on a steam engine, I gave my girlfriend's mom a cab ride, and it was 20 and leaving out the station, and she was not quite centered, but she was close. Okay. And so I open up the throttle and I'm like, nothing. And then she hands it to me and it's wide open, and she's not moving, but then she slowly starts to roll her wheels, and I go, oh fuck. And I slam the throttle shut, and she keeps rolling. Boom! First chuff. Right back wide open on the throttle, right back shut, doing the whole thing. Didn't slip, didn't use sand. Boom, 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 boom. Got the bar up and away we went. And my girlfriend's mom, she's so inquisitive. She's very fun to chat with. I've enjoyed getting to know her a bit more. She was like, why are you moving that lever so much? And it's like, I have like a series of 15 YouTube videos that I need to make and then show you to explain precisely why I'm doing what I'm doing. But what I told her was, hey, I'm trying not to spin the wheels. And she'd shown up, and we had a different engineer previously. I don't remember who it was, but they had a little bit of slippage going out, which it's 20. She does that, unsurprisingly. And I was like, I was just trying not to do that. And that's the way that you do that, is you have to modulate the throttle based on feel. And then you feel stuff with your butt in the seat, and the way the engine feels and all that, and it's important. You know, I found 491's broken spring with my butt, and everyone else was like, no, it's fine. It's like, no, something's wrong. So experience, time, all that stuff, it all adds up. Anyway.
You really learn, and this is just my experience, and I've never run steam freight, so I don't know anything about it. But the diesels that I ran, you learn really quick that you don't go notch one idle, notch one idle. You go notch one and you fan the independent and let it drag the brakes through to start moving.
Yeah, 1000%. Yeah, leave the independent on, notch one, and then put it where you need it. Yeah. From Odin GP38-2 plus GP60Bs, Farmer's Wet Dream. Yeah, I'm sure it was. We built a couple consists like that at Interbay that was like, some foamer's gonna love this. Solaris, just for curiosity, in Railroader, if a map was made from Asheville through Murphy Branch, Chattanooga, and up to Nashville with all the historic branch lines, how big would the map be? As big as...
You're talking... Let's see.
As big as the real map is? Because Railroader's 1-to-1? However, put it in Google Maps. Shrug?
Hang on. Where was it from?
Asheville through to Chattanooga. Up to...
Asheville to Chattanooga.
Asheville, Chattanooga to Nashville. I mean, Chattanooga to Nashville is a couple-hour drive in the car. I've done that drive.
Chattanooga to Asheville, that would be roughly, I think it's 432 miles, 433 miles.
More time to sit and be bored with a locomotive doing nothing. Anyway, outside voice. Eric Brinker, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Appreciate you. John Doe, Fireman, 23 months. You got 3 big questions for you that won't fit here. You can DM them to you. Also, here's to 2 years of being a member. Almost. And many more to come. I can't believe you've been doing your meme shit for this long. Me too. Almost 2 years. But yeah, I mean, feel free to DM me the questions, I suppose. So long as you'll knock a couple points off the debt. Ever 2200, Fireman, 35 months. Almost to 3 years. Hey Mark, you thinking about applying for a rare job to escape your family job situation? Would you recommend applying to a class 1 or a short line? They are both different kinds of dumpster fires.
Do you want to be home every day or do you want to be gone a lot?
That's the big question. You'll get more money and you'll get more big company bullshit with a class 1. But, yeah, you will probably be away from home if you're doing anything other than mechanical work for them. Short lines can be a mixed bag. Some of them are excellent and have great communities of people, and some of them are not. And it just depends, so you just kind of have to learn. But the nice thing with a short line is you probably will be home every time that you do the thing. So, yeah.
Most short lines aren't over 100 miles.
Right.
So... They really had no reason but to just bring you back home. So.
Right. Fun fact, I had a really funny...
to pop in unannounced.
Hello, Alligamer. I had a really funny interaction with a good friend of mine who's with the Great Western Railway up in northern Colorado this past week. He calls me and he told me that they're getting some new power and there's some SW1500s from BNSF. And I go, ooh, what are the road numbers? Tell me. And it was the 3422 and the 3439, and I had to say, you're welcome, because I was the reason that he got them, indirectly, but former Seattle assigned SW1500s, and I was the reason that they got removed from service in Seattle. Oops. But business-wise, they sucked, so it made sense.
We've got an SW1500 at Kishko, and man, do I actually like running that thing, because... it runs pretty good for what it is.
Dude, they load fast. They run fast. They're great for switching, but they're great for switching, small things, what they were designed for. And in the modern day,
long things.
Dude, they were trying to run 7,000-foot trains with those things and shunting and switching 7,000-foot trains with an SW1500 at Interbay. And they were remote control, too. So
No, screw that.
you know, they would
I'm gonna tell you that now.
they'd put him in run 8 and then slam on the independent. And I mean, we went through on one of them the reason why Seattle got rid of all the SWs, the whole Northwest Division, all the SWs, which is why ORHF got 3613, and which is why Bo's getting 3422 and 3439, and hopefully someone's getting 3436. 3444 got wrecked, and I think that was the list of them, other than 3606, which was our shop switcher, which is now the shop switcher at Vancouver. One of them came in, and it came in for a rewheel. And it's like, oh yeah, it's here for a rewheel. And I went, bullshit, we just rewheeled it. And they're like, no, you're probably thinking of one of the other ones. And I'm like, no, weaponized road number autism. It was that one. I know it was that one. Fuck you. And then we pulled up the maintenance records and figured out that, yeah, it was 3436 or 3439 that went through a set of wheels in 11 months. Put brand new wheels in. Every time it came in, it got trued again because they had slid it flat or shelled them out. And 11 months later, it needed a new set of wheels. And that's cutting off like 3 inches of radius of tire. In 11 months. That much metal chewed through. So I pointed that out to my upper managers, and they went, oh my god. And then all of a sudden, there were no more SWs in Seattle. So you're welcome, ORHF and Great Western. Oops, my fault.
You do that with a couple of Jeep 40s and a slug, mother and slug set, 7,000 foot crane. Just shove them right in there.
At least you got more traction motors for that. Yeah. All right. Higher production something. Hey, Hyce, when are you seeing the 4449 again? Oh, this is my friend from Poland. Hey. I loved seeing your AFT 4449 you DM'd me about the other day. When am I seeing her again? I don't know. I kind of wanted to when she was out running, or when she was out on display and steamed up for past May, but I don't know. Not sure when I'm going to get to Portland again. Going to be close. I'm going to be in Train Mountain in a week and a half or whatever, but it's not that close. So, one of these days. Hope she gets out and runs again. Gaming Doggo 66, you were wondering what the implications would be if the Class 1 railroads got rid of PSR and went back to 10 to 20-ish car trains. They wouldn't do that. It'd still be 150 car trains, but, you know, they would just be manifest trains.
I would love for them to get rid of the PSR BS and let us run the locomotives. Get rid of this TO, this stupid trip sodomizer junk.
Literally.
Let us get the trains over the road. You get us on there, engineers running it that knows how that train's going to handle and knows the territory. We can get it from one end of the road and the other in half the time what they're getting right now.
Well, see, that's the problem, though, is that they right now NS at Conway they've got like 5 guys going through the engineer program, and they tell them don't use TO while you're training. We want you to be able to operate a train without trip optimizer in case it fails. But then the entire time while they're running, they're all like, push that button, make the thing do the thing.
So with my training as a locomotive engineer, when I went through it, my road foreman specifically put a notice out in the territory I was in when I was doing my training that if you have a locomotive engineer trainee with you, TO is not to be activated at all, not even logged into.
No, they were making them sign into energy management and TO with their own credentials just so that it was technically signed into, it just wasn't supposed to be activated, which is dumb, but...
Yeah. We, literally the whole time I was training, like I said, I'm training over mountainous territory. It's really fun when you get these trains going 60 mile an hour down a hill, stretch braking it down this hill because I had to learn how to stretch brake. We didn't have dynamic options.
We have a 40 curve, literally right in the middle of 60. It's the figure 8 curve, and the engineer I had the other night, he apparently while he was training, he managed to power brake right into it, and the engineer looked at him, he's like, "Who's a big boy? I'm a big boy."
I'm sorry, Hyce, we've kind of stolen the show.
It's fine. It's always fun to hear you guys talk about what modern railroad stuff's like these days. So that's why I let it happen. If I was really worried about it, I'd tell you both to shut the fuck up. So anyway,
Yeah.
Matt
I
Houston.
just kind of looked over and seen your face, so I was like, "Uh-oh."
Oh, I'm just laughing at your guys' story and being mad at modern day railroads at the same time.
I think it's really interesting because both John and I have the opposite side of the spectrum because he's CSX and I'm NS. So, I mean, you get it from both sides. Now we just need somebody from UP to really be an SF.
Hey, Justin, are you here? Are you watching? Come jump in.
Yeah, get Justin in here.
Anyway, Matt Houston, solid doesn't works. Yep. It literally doesn't. Yep. Well, now do I have any canon paint schemes or colors for the ESND/ESNDT yet? Not particularly. At least for locomotives. Probably black. Cause black. But yeah. SolidWorks.
Brown.
Hey, this is not a Montezuma stream. Yeah, because you don't work, you bitch. Eat shit and die. Anyway. Blues Crew. So glad you're taking care of you. With 2 G's. Thank you. Hearts. Appreciate you. Wusky, Fireman, 34 months. What can cause various parts of a boiler to wear out quicker than the others? Heat transfer. It's all heat transfer. If the heat transfer fast, the metal don't like. And then the metal do stupid. So, firebox usually is your big problem because fire hot. Or
Bad water and scale.
Bad water and scale. Bad water and scale adds up, but it's not in terms of wear. It's not as bad. That does prevent heat transfer, but yeah. Anyway, scale does then
really good.
inform. If you've got scale, it does then inform the heat transfer. So it's not directly related, but it's there. But anyway, so. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in here for a second.
Yeah.
There is a really good video of the Kentucky Steam Shop, Jason Shemansky. I can't remember how you say his last name.
Subchinsky.
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 All right,
Imagine a
Jason has
submarine,
really good
a
video.
big chin, and then skiing.
Okay. Subchinsky. Anyways, he's got a really good video on the Kentucky Steam's Facebook page of him doing the acid wash to get all the scale and stuff out of the boiler. It is really interesting.
There was a lot of fucking scale in that thing.
Oh yeah, there was.
He showed us all. They got a whole 55-gallon drum of it, and we made the joke. What are you gonna do with all that concrete dirt or the concrete gravel? And he's like, I might put it in bottles and sell it off.
Yeah, that was, you should. Foamers buy it, Jersey. Anyway, scale is not directly wear on the boiler, but it then indirectly causes wear on the boiler. So, checks notes, a certain locomotive that is being rebuilt, thankfully, finally, got taken out of service. Got taken out of service because the fireman, good friend of mine, was watching it, and it was an oil burner, and he was looking in the fire door, and he was like, what am I seeing? And he thought he saw glowing orange, and he did. The crown bolts were glowing orange, because even a spot fire, just sitting there with a light oil fire, was providing enough heat that because the crown was so scaled over, the crown bolts were licking cherry red and orange. And it's like, okay, we're shutting this down right now. So, don't do that. So, that causes wear, but, it's not the scale that causes it. It's the scale that then, allows for that to happen. So, anyway. We're going to blitz through a couple more top chats, then it's probably going to be PP time for me. And we don't have Jersey here for a speedy, whatever. Lightning round. Catherine Hinojosa. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Breakman, 24 months. Happy 2 years. Hi, Hyce. Will Century of Steam have multiplayer? We're not supposed to answer Century of Steam's questions here, but this one is so basic that, yeah, it's multiplayer.
Sweet.
At Jake. Anyway.
Still working on that, but
Yeah,
yes.
we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. Redline Overload Productions. Hey guys, you're going to shoot an idea. How about a weekly poll that the community can choose the video of the week? That is, of course, we already have one planned. Also, what videos do you have planned? What is this plan word you speak of?
There's no such thing as having a
How
plan.
dare you?
You just wing it.
I typically do just wing things. I have a couple videos that are in like vague states of progress. I'm never going to literally never. Like, I love giving community actionable stuff, and I love giving you guys some agency over the channel on what you want to see. I'm never going to do a poll situation like that. That is a hard boundary I'm going to set right now. The videos will come out how and when I want them, and that is how it's going to be. Because if you thought I was going insane before trying to get 4 videos out on my time before, giving viewers agency over what video comes out, no. Hard no.
That's just
Not
really impossible to do in a week.
Not only no, but fuck no. Anyway, I understand the intent behind your question, and I'm not just trying to give you a hard time. I appreciate it, and that's a good suggestion in terms of things, but it just doesn't work. So, what videos do I have planned? We're gonna continue the Railroad Tycoon 3 series, because that's the vacation series of fun that it's low edits, there's swearing, and who cares, and it's playing a fun video game I love, and I just need to schedule some time with the guys to do that. There's a very exciting announcement that I'm still waiting on an organization to announce so that I can announce it. Screams. About something that we won't talk about until I can talk about it. That'll be hopefully soon. I've got to finish my Australia trip videos, which I've got several. Why didn't the US have Garrett's? Australian preservation versus American preservation. Puffing Billy. Vacuum Brake 101. Australia's oldest Australian engine. The 4 show, which is the quarter show, but upside down. With I Will Boom, William Adams, and Rick Sanger. Which hopefully the edit will actually work on. Hopefully, I don't know. People always ask about being a digital guest on 3/4 show, and that was enough proof that I'm saying no, never again. We'll see if that can be edited out, and if it can, and it works, it'll go out. But if not, it might just be a members only thing at the very least. But it's like kind of untenable to do digital guests from what we learned from that. Anyway, yeah, and then we shot a video about what the Coast Daylight was about back in the day, 4449, all that stuff. Months ago at the train show that I need to put together. And then I am midway through shooting my first true Railroad 101 of like a railroad for the Uinta Railway. And then when 491's tender's done, we'll do Tenders 101. And when the F9s at the museum get painted, we'll do what killed the Streamliner. And then talking about breathing in tunnels. It's going to be up. And then in about a month, I also need to actually tell the story of 346's wreck on its anniversary one of these years. This is now the 4th year
I don't know. That begs
attempting to do that.
Begs the question to me, would you consider the Genesis GE to be streamlined in a sense?
The Genesis GE?
Yeah. What Amtrak is using before they got the Samines ones.
You mean Siemens? The P42s?
Yeah.
They're kind. Oh, I guess those are a Genesis. Okay, I didn't realize they were called that. They're kind of streamlined, and I will be talking about that as part of that video, which, yeah. But we're midway through repainting the F units, and they look like trash because all the stuff's taken off them and they're being sanded, and It's like, you know what? We'll just film that video when it's ready, and then yeah. So lots of cool stuff in the pipeline. That's all stuff that's like actively partially shot or being worked on or whatever, and that'll be down the road. But yeah, can you pick when they come out? No, sorry.
I would love to join you one day and just make a video of diesel locomotive engineer tries to run steam engine for the first time.
That would be funny. We could arrange that. Not when you're visiting Colorado, unfortunately, but
it's all good. We'll plan another time.
We could arrange that. I could do a couple more of these, then I'm gonna horse like a piss race, and we'll be right back. But DJ Sylveon, how do I feel about theme park steamers? Snake Farm just sounds nasty. Snake Farm pretty much is. It's a reptile house. Put it this way, I'm very happy that there is a concerted effort to add regulation to theme park steam locomotives. Screams internally and externally. Yeah. Anyway, Matt the Outcast, on your fictional Colchester and Hartfield Railroad, you have a 4.2 Norris that was never retired. So yes, you have a Norris that pulled intermodals. Christ, love that. Trains and more random stuff. Hello, Funny Birdman. Thank you for being an engineer for 2 years. Jackson Wages. Warning plus 18 plus colon 19? Yes, 19 months, Brakeman. Thank you. Tismal Swamp 611. Yeah, Birdman cometh. Also, you see 614 got towed to Strasbourg for restoration. Glad to see you as always. Cheers. Thank you for being conductor. 16 months. I did see, 614's at the Berg. Saf Surge, 15 months. Wow, time flies. Yes, it do. Thank you for being a brakeman all that time. Eric Brinker, you went on a Disneyland Railroad tour, got to talk to the engine crew. They run on a combo of diesel and vegetable oil, and they only have an independent brake, at least from what you got from a short conversation. Interesting. That's a setup. But it would explain some things. Thank you for being a fireman 28 months. Peepa Dragon, fireman 22 months. Have I had any time to look at the trains in Mario Kart World? No. I've yet to touch a Switch 2. My sister got one. She works for Pokemon, so she's got the hookups with Nintendo, apparently.
She needs to let me know the next EV that comes out. I'm collecting those like crazy.
Birds! Birds! From Alagamer! Thank you, my friend! Yeah,
I made threats of doing it before, now I just actually had the funds.
You did it. Appreciate that. Thank you. Birds help fund house. Lord.
In future wedding.
Presumably. Someday. I haven't looked at Pendragon, but I will look at some point, and maybe we'll do a react at some point as well. I'll pause the top chest there. Obviously, Alligamer, thank you for the 50 gifted. Just saying, the birds, I gotta update my channel member scroll at the end, so if you got birds, get them out. But I'll be right back. Entertain.
Oh, jeez.
We might just go back to talking about locomotive engineer training again.
Well, I was going to say class 1. Class 1 crap engineering.
Oh god, I don't know how many of those I've had to change.
I have changed maybe one, surprisingly, but granted, it's, I don't know. We try to make it as uncommon as possible.
Well, you've got to realize that TO doesn't exactly work on steep hills all the time, so...
Oh, trust me, I get it. We have 2 really large dips between Rad, one at Greensburg there, and then there's another one at Latrobe. I think one dip is probably about 5 miles long, and the other one's 7? Excuse me, 7 total, and it is...
That's about what we have. We have a 1.8% grade uphill when you leave Louisville going to Nashville at what we call Tunnel Hill. It's 1.7 to 1.8% uphill for 7 miles, and then you flatten out, and then when you get to the other side of the road at Gallatin, Tennessee, going downhill, I want to say it's 1.9% grade for almost 8 miles. And TO doesn't like it, and 99.9% of the knuckles I've gotten has been on those hills. And you're talking like probably over 45 knuckles I've changed in my 3 years of being a railroader.
Yeah, we have a similar-ish situation. I don't think the grade's quite that steep at Radenbach, but there's a smaller dip at a place called Penn's Hole that is about 2 miles long, and it is just enough to be a pain in the ass, because if you have a 12,000-foot train and it comes up over that little thing and you're still trying to... Basically, they try not to use the air in there at all, in general.
I love running like 14,000-foot trains. Yes, I'm the weird one. I love to run 14,000-foot trains. When I run them, though, I'll get them up over the crest of the hill and start gathering up everything in dynamic. And then by the time I hit, like, the locomotive hits the bottom of the hill, I'm already back into, like, notch 4 or 5, pulling back up the other hill.
Yeah, that's the advice I was given, is that you basically want to be in the same notch as you entered whenever you leave.
Yep, pretty much. The way that I was always told, though, was every 10 miles an hour is a notch. So if you're doing 30 mile an hour downhill, you want to be in notch 3 when you start up. That's the way I was taught.
So when did you work up to engineer? Last I knew, you were only a conductor.
January, actually, of this year. January 4th? January 5th.
Well, congrats. Do you like
Thank
sitting
you.
in a chair, or?
I got cut straight back to conductor.
You know what?
I
That's fair.
literally did the training for 6 months and then was forced to cut back to conductor and said, screw you all, I'm moving to a different territory now.
That's fair. We had a couple engineers trainees that were like that too. As soon as they finished their training, they got set back to a conductor, and I was just like, well, I mean, I understand why you trained him as an engineer, but also at the same time, seems like you wasted the money. But I want to say about a month later now. Granted, keep in mind, at this point, we had 40 extra guys on the extra board at Conway. We're now down to 14. And it's...
Okay, so there
Sounds
is...
like their era.
Yeah, so where I'm at right now, there is 25 people on this extra board. I am, in seniority-wise, I'm number 18 out of 25.
As a conductor or an engineer?
As a conductor.
Okay.
There is 2 trains that are guaranteed to run every day, and 2 more that may or may not run.
Wow.
So it's literally 4 trains at the most a day. I'm sitting 11 times out as we speak right now.
Wow.
Boy, I wish it was like that. We're getting called out right on our rest again.
I would love for that to happen, because I ain't making jack diddly squat.
I just got my...
Do you want the dollars or the work? Yeah.
I want the dollars, dude. I don't care. I don't care to work. I've told everybody this since I got to this new location. I'm like, they're like, oh, this is like the worst place to be, because nothing here is anything less than basically doing a yard job over the road. And I'm like, that was what I was doing at the other location anyways, and I'm fine with it.
Right.
I wish I could say the same. I just got my FRA 7-day, 3-day off thing. The 72 hours, because I went over...
You worked 7 years, or 7 days in a row? Christ.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
No, it was nothing when I was in Louisville to work 7 days in a row. Nothing. You would go down, up, and then even though you were at home, they would offer you the chance to run back down and deadhead back. And I'm like, screw it, I'll do it. I'll take the extra 2 days pay for a day trip.
Well, you see, the problem is that at home we'll get called out on our rest, but whenever we're away, that's a different story. Like,
Okay, no.
when I went to Altoona on my 6th start, I sat in the hotel for 24 hours, and that's a mandatory FRA deadhead home, and then you get your 3 days off. But like, we were 3rd out. There's no reason we should have sat for 24 hours. I don't get it.
Huh.
There was one time, I swear, I could not get over the fact that it was like a month straight. It was out on rest at home, out on rest at the hotel, and it was like every single time for like a month straight.
I think I slept for 16 hours last night because I was that beat.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah. Good lord. Yay, class ones! Alright, before we get back to the top chats, John Doe mentioned having some questions, and he DM'd them to me, and we all know Mr. John Doe, the debt man, so I'm going to lessen my debt by answering his questions here. He says he's not sorry about asking the questions. Valid. Circus trains. Did large circuses like Ringling Bros or Barnum and Bailey have their own dedicated locomotives, or did they rent one from the railroad? And also what the consist looked like, since there was much large and live cargo.
I actually
know this too.
I'm glad you guys did, because I was like, I would assume that they would just have whatever power from whatever railroad, but I don't know.
That's actually, yes.
Bailey, whenever they would come to Pittsburgh, and they would just have one NS locomotive, bring it in, and then we drop it off at Island Avenue on the North Shore. We'd put the cars into what they call the truck yard, which used to be a large post office yard for mail and stuff. But they'd park the cars in there. The carnies would be able to walk back and forth to the, or taxi back and forth, I guess, by cab to the, where they were hosting it at the convention center. But what else they would do is they would take the elephants and the animal cars up to the station. And they would let the animals out, and the elephants would do the thing. They would grab trunk to tail, and they would walk into the convention center, and then they'd park the cars down there at Island Avenue again. But they said that they had a hell of a time keeping the carnies off the cars because, they're carnies. That's what they do. They jump around and stuff. But yes, they would just use any NS power that was available or for an extra train at the time.
Yeah, and then whenever we interchange with NS, they would take NS's power off and CSX's power would go on.
There you go. Neat. Good question. How do you figure out what rail weight is needed? You obviously don't use 155-pound railroad or rail for Montezuma and 2 passenger cars, so how do you figure out what rail is needed? It's all about axle loading. Whatever the maximum axle load in terms of weight is by anything is what determines your minimum. And I'm sure there's a formula out there for that, but shrug.
I'm sure there is. There's actually a notice on our timetables that says, hey, if you have a single car that weighs this much tonnage, you can't run it over this line of road.
I believe it. We've got we have some 30-pound rail at the museum that we switch on every now and again, and we'll bring our 55-tonner on 4 axles over it, and you creep over it as slow as you can. And
0.5.
even then, it's like it makes some noises, and you're like, man, if we were brought the big steam engine on it, we would fall into the gauge like that.
There are cars marked on our wheeler as excessive weight, but it also says underneath it, cars okay for route. So.
Yeah, we have some cars marked excessive weight, but then they say do not take over blank sub or other sub. And so if you go that way, you have to tell the dispatcher, hey, we can't go that way because we got these cars. And he's like, well, shove back in the yard and set those cars out because I can't send you the other way. Okay.
The only restrictions we have for that are key trains and PIH through the Amtrak station.
Sure.
Oh, that sucks.
The last question in front from John Doe. Story behind that question: there was a semi that was stalled in front of him, and he got cut off, and he stopped his 73 F100 too hard, and it stalled out on the tracks, hitting the brakes without downshifting. Does that correct? You got to push the clutch in too. Your short line was running that day. Thankfully, you knew that because you were within the industry yard limit. They were doing switching work, so you knew they weren't ever going over 10. Able to start the truck and drive through the gate. Brakeman, who's protecting the shove, told me that you did the right thing by driving through the gate, as the arms are relatively designed and built cheap so that they can be destroyed in case someone stopped on the tracks could get out of danger without damaging more expensive mechanisms. Legal stuff happened after his blah 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 in a story. Forgot to ask him, so you'll ask me. How are they exactly designed to brake, and how does it work? Two different things. It depends on if you have gatekeepers or not. Some of the gates are actually hinged and designed to pivot. away from the mech, and then otherwise they're really, really cheap, shitty, small, thin aluminum. AKA, if you run through it, it's gonna break where it's gonna break, and the mech itself will be fine. So,
A lot of the ones we have are spring hinged.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the gatekeeper, a spring hinge that holds it straight, and then hopefully the gate doesn't break, which is the ideal. That is the most modern standard these days. But a lot of the earlier ones were just design failure point.
Very thin aluminum.
Yeah, yeah.
I do want to throw one thing back to John Doe's earlier question about the circus cars. I know it dealt with locomotives, but this is mildly interesting. When Barnum and Bailey's stopped doing their thing via rail, they NS bought all of their cars so that they could salvage the wheels off them because it's the same wheels that they use on the OCS. So we have a bunch of them stored at Altoona, and I'm gonna post them when I find them in my photos in the VC of them.
Neat. That's cool. Anyway, thanks, John Doe, for the good questions. From Drake the Rail Fan, conductor 26 months. Hey, Mark, have you seen anything about Sim Hogger? It looks pretty cool. If you haven't, it's an EMD control stand for train sims like Rail Driver. I have. I need to order one. I have been chatting with Wireless Billy, and I had the hilarious interaction of, hey, I would love to make this work for Century of Steam. And he goes, do you know the devs? And I go, hi. So, spoilers. Anyway, yeah, I would love to get one and give it a go because it looks brilliant. It looks really brilliant. W. Muscati Hyce Building Fund donation. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hashtag tax deductible phone with friends. Mustang top down is huge for your mental health lately hence the ask/suggestion, bud. Yeah. GTO, I would love to put a lot more dollars in the GTO to make it more pleasant all the time. The mild exhaust leak, the mild fear of the car struggling, and then if there's weather, it could use some stuff. Yeah.
Oh god, a Halcon van.
It does well, but it doesn't do super well. So long trip, I don't know, we'll see. From Court Qatar, good to see you, my friend. Archometer in Deutsch. Lit Archometer. Most important. Yes. Surly the Fourth, would I be stupid to apply for a job with Amtrak? No, Amtrak's like the best outfit to get out with these days, actually. Like, if you want to have...
I met a guy from Amtrak, and he sold me very, very hard on trying to get me to go over there. He's like, I have not had yet a conductor that came from Freight come over to Amtrak and, want to go back or bitch about it.
I have not heard of anyone disliking Amtrak as an employer in terms of train crew compared to Freight.
The only thing I have that's the downside is everywhere that Amtrak is hiring right now is nowhere near my hometown. There is an Amtrak near us, but the guy that is here has been here for 20 years and is not going to leave anytime soon.
Exactly.
Well, that's the problem, is that there at Pittsburgh, Amtrak, and this might change when they start running that second train on the Keystone Corridor, but Pittsburgh is basically only an away terminal. All inbound trains just spend the night there and then head back home. Harrisburg is the originating station, which kind of sucks. It's 3 hours away.
Dude, I was looking the other day at Amtrak. You can take an Amtrak train over so many more divisions than what I can take a freight train. Literally, there's a guy that runs from Cincinnati to Huntington, West Virginia, and he goes on up and around, and then he goes on down a little ways. I mean, this dude probably runs over 400 plus miles every single time he goes to work.
Damn.
And I barely get 113.
Damn, that's...
I think we get 275 on the trip to Harrisburg from Conway.
Well, it's 187 from Louisville to Nashville, but that's besides the point.
Neat. All right, let's see. Solaris, and how would you get from Asheville to Chattanooga? I assume down around Atlanta. By road? I don't know.
Very carefully.
I ain't from there.
All over the river, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Good question. Let's see. Oh boy, we are so
Second
behind.
start on the right. Keep going on straight till morning.
We are so behind on the top chats. Jesus Christ! Thank you for bearing with us. Oh my God! Please. Nazu, 2 more months as engineer. Yeah, 34, almost 36. You did want to ask, will we see more of the Railroad Tycoon 3 series as a stream? If not, you totally understand. We're going to continue the series as a series. Because that will put a video in the algorithm, and it'll be what it is. Colonel Cactus, you want someone from UP? You are someone from UP. That is, in fact, in the Discord. We could bring you up if we needed to derail the stream further with more modern-day railroad things. If we get to that point...
I think modern-day railroading does enough derailing as is.
We shall. Especially yours. Anyway. Evil Graph 775, Conductor 75, or 14 months. Spicy Bolts, yes. Dylan Brooks, Brakeman 18 months. Goodness gracious, great bolts of fire. Yeah, I don't like to see that. Mort Schwarzer, hate all you want. Slow steaming works. Same deal at Steve, the cruise bitch, but the proof is in the putting less fuel per ton kilometer. Go slow. But I want it now. Right? Anyway. Ginger Squatch, Fireman 8 months. Excellent to see you back in the office, Professor. Thank you. Appreciate it. William Adams, lesson learned. Australian internet sucks. Yes, it did. And does. Yeah. I'm bummed that your own self-recording didn't work out, because that was gonna save a lot of the problems. I haven't dug in. I'm just having anxiety over it, but I have a feeling it might be a members only episode. We'll see. Now we're to Gamers 50 gifted memberships, just from before the break. Still, thank you, my friend. And again, any birds that need to be sent, I have to update my outro scroll before the next video, so get them out of your system if you got them. So, Matt the Outcast, if you had the means to do so, would you obtain or build a new trailing truck for Peaches since her current one is complete dog shit? If I had the means to do so, it is not a question of making her a new one. It is a question of boundary conditions and geometry. She has what works.
Gotta finish your tendril first.
There is not space for anything else. If she burnt oil, you could put a 2-axle trailing truck underneath. You could do a Burke thing, a little mini Burke thing. But with the 282 setup, like, the ash pan spans over it, and the ash pan crowds the trailing truck sucks. The ash pan sucks, both of them, because the boiler's too big and there's too much, and it just doesn't work. It's not tenable. Like, you couldn't do hardly anything else. It sucks.
Did I come back to a conversation about fat ass being too fat?
Correct. Yeah. She's dummy thick, and the clap of her ass cheeks is alerting, the guards. So.
The clap of her ass cheeks is the trailing truck spring breaking.
Pretty much. But she's got the correct springs in now, 1, and the correct dead links, 2. So she should be happy for a while. Knock on wood. We'll see. Wandering Outlaw, what's everyone's top 3 Steam whistles? Breakman 3 months. Top 3, picking 3. I love so many. I love whistles.
I can tell you one of them.
Huber 6, my own 6, of course,
Absolutely.
is a big favorite, which is based on a Santa Fe 6.
That didn't make the list.
It's based on a Santa Fe 6, so same difference.
Hovey's fire tube whistle.
I mean, that thing's fucking neat sounding and weird. I wouldn't put it in my favorites, but it's neat. I would.
Hovey's Pansy Hooter.
No, fuck the Banshee. The Banshee sucks ass. I mean, Hovey's is
Let's just get a
nice,
tugboat whistle.
but it's awful. Definitely Huber 6, DT and I5, because I've loved that whistle for a long time. And then it's probably between a Reading 6 or an ACL 6 for the last spot, and we'll see you know, just how much I love the ACL6 after I get mine next week. So, anyway. One of them's 3. And if people don't know what those are, I mean, we can give context. I'm sure people don't know what the DT&I 5 is, because it took Jersey's autism to figure out what the fuck it was in the first place. So
I will have to look that up because I'm curious now.
I'm going to pull up a video of it. Because
It
it was always just, oh, that's that whistle that used to be on 497 at the Cooper Racing Toll Tech. Blah, 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 blah. Train stuff, train stuff, train stuff, train stuff. Here we go. It's just a 5 chime that's got some fucking authority to it. Although the UNF5 that we have at the museum is also pretty fucking good, but I like the timbre of that one more. So yeah, it's tough.
I'm gonna definitely say that's in my top 3 now.
Dude, I love that whistle. It's awesome. Anyway, CVK Studios 18 conductor 26 months. Are we hearing a story about a Kenosha? Yes. We're coming up on July 25th. Which is 346's rec anniversary. And I need to film video of that. I need to go up to Kenosha and film that. But anyway. Steam Power, can we get you to react to how to properly drive a steam locomotive by just another rail fan? It's a brilliant video your friend made. DM it to me and maybe we can. Not on stream, but
I've recently got in my head that since Kenosha Pass went to South Park, Colorado, that it's just Randy Marsh in that locomotive drinking beers going, woo! And then fucking wrecks the locomotive.
I can see that.
That's about accurate. So, anyway. See Lindell upgrading membership to ES&D Fireman. Thank you. Check out some of the Fireman-only videos that are out there. I haven't done one in a while, and I'm sorry about that to the Fireman tier folks. I haven't filmed on a locomotive at the museum like actually while we're operating a fucking century because I've been training people. It's been a good problem to have. I've been training people. I just haven't had time to bring cameras and everything. That's also part of why I want to scale back the 4 video a week thing. It's like I used to film at the museum more frequently and just haven't. So anyway. Odin, didn't realize that. Apologies, missed the name of the dude who's not Allagamer. John? Yes, John is an Upper South dude. Hello, fellow Nashville man. Are you in Nashville these days? Did I miss that?
I am no longer in Nashville. I actually run from Russell, Kentucky, to Cincinnati and Columbus, Ohio.
All right, you're in my family's old stomping grounds.
Oh.
My family's from Marion, so.
Oh, nice.
Oh, neat. But yes, that it is Johnny. Our man Johnny. Could you not hear his voice? He just needs to say, "Hello, I'm Johnny Cash," and we'll be set. So.
Copyright strike.
That's why you can't say it. Court Qatar, is this the moment to mention your 9 weeks of paid recreational leave a year and 2-month work plans with bonus if the shift changes more than 2 hours?
I wish I had that.
Screams, dies. Yeah, everyone should just, move to other countries. But anyway, Germany sounds lovely. Need to come visit.
I would literally love to have like 2 or 3 weeks that I could just take off willy-nilly whenever I want to be able to go to Kentucky Steam and work.
Court Qatar is a, I don't know if commuter rail driver is the right term, but he's a high-speed train driver in Germany. So
okay.
9
I would love to
9
I'd love
weeks
to get some info.
of paid recreational leave. And what do you have? What do you guys have? I mean, when I was manager at the BNSF, I had 2 weeks of vacation.
I got 2 weeks of vacation, but I've only got 2.5 years in, so.
I've got 3 years and I've only got 2 weeks of vacation.
Yeah. Do you guys work on holidays ever?
all the time.
Is that even a question?
Yeah,
It's not even
really,
guaranteed I get
literally,
Christmas.
I'm gonna tell you this: a holiday is just another day.
It's a day that ends in Y. Yeah, see, in mechanical, it meant that they got paid more and that I had to cater a turkey dinner in. So
Yard jobs get paid more, but the road guys don't get jack squat.
yeah, pound
It's
sand.
exactly the same at Conway. Yard guys have holidays, but they also don't get personal days in exchange. They get paid holidays. Road guys get personal days, and
All our guys get personal days.
It is so funny how different all of the different little union contracts work, because my favorite example was for us at the BNSF in mechanical. Only for machinists. If you were a Santa Fe machinist and you had your contract come back over, when daylight savings time happened and you were on third shift, you got paid for 9 hours, so you got an hour overtime on the long shift, and for the short shift, the 7-hour shifts, where when you sprung forward or whatever, you still got paid the full 8.
That's awesome.
But the BN guys, former BN employees, just got paid 7 hours or 9 hours, and they had to figure it out.
And
so it's
been
like
pretty decent about shutting down for Christmas. Excuse me.
CSX has said multiple times that we're gonna not run trains for 48 hours, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, we're in that time where they're not gonna run trains, and then all of a sudden your phone rings.
But wait, we need to run trains.
What had happened is about 3 years ago, I think it was about 3 years ago, NS said that we're not shutting down for Christmas this year. And so everybody, and I mean absolutely everybody, at Conway marked off one way or another with FMLA, sick, and they shut every fucking thing down because that'll show them.
So you remember how there was this big strike going to happen about 2-3 years ago?
I do.
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you what happened when the government forced us to take the contract. The conductors all marked off sick for 4 days. And as soon as every conductor marked up, all the engineers marked off for 4 days.
That's fantastic.
And we basically just gave a big FU to CSX.
A very minor strike in your own way to do it. I wish we had the capabilities to do it, but
we did it mostly because we got screwed over so bad on our contract. We were trying to get a raise big enough to cover freaking inflation and everything, and we got 14%, which sounds like a lot, but it's not enough when we're still trying to catch up to inflation from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to the top chats. From Molden House, how are road classes assigned? Just track mileage. Also, due to changes in trucking industry, you might look into the local 255-mile railroad in a year or so. By all means, look in. I mean, it's a similar enough job in some ways. But railroad class is based on annual revenue of the company. And there's a great article on Wikipedia for it. It's some stupid amount of dollars between each of them.
Basically,
and there's class 1, 2, 3.
America has 4 American railroads that are the 4 major class 1s. You got BNSF.
Actually, there's
UP.
5.
Well, does
BNSF,
CP technically counts.
CPKC, BNSF,
CN.
UP, CSX, Norfolk Southern, CN, and Amtrak. It's a total of 6 or 7 of them now. But yeah, Amtrak technically
we don't
counts,
consider Amtrak.
Technically counts
run
per
on other
Wikipedia
people's territory.
somehow, but yeah.
It is technically class 1, even if it is subsidized.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. The Northeast Corridor does make a shit ton of money. So it's the only part of the railroad that does, but yeah.
There is a saying that we say, I work for the 4th best railroad, class 1 railroad in North America.
Safety 4th.
Safety 4th.
Safety 4th.
William Adams, 40-pound rails on broad gauge branch line. It's fine. Apparently the Rio Grande used to have 45-pound untie-plated rail on the Valley line, and they ran big Ks on it, so it's fine. Yeah.
Do how much a 20-foot, 155-pound steel beam costs?
Lots. New IKB 4472.
$4,870.
There you go. Did staff/token machines ever get used in America to control single track lines? And did they get used on narrow gauge railroads? The narrow gauge never had signals. Ever.
Yeah,
Never.
but also-
No. How dare you spread lies? I don't believe token... I've never heard of token signaling in the US. Ever. It may have happened. I wouldn't be surprised. But...
I don't know.
Signals... Like, narrow gauge did have signals. I'm just... quoting the sad fate of some sad humans that need not mention. Anyway. But yeah, tokens, no. And then on narrow gauge, no. But yes, there were signals and things. We came up with different setups for that sort of stuff. But maybe it happened somewhere because there's always an exception. Andrew Lucia, hey Hyce, thoughts about variable lead for steam locomotive valve gear? You recently found out that DNR GW L105 Challengers had a cam-based system to accomplish that depending on the position of the cutoff lever. I'd love to hear about where you learned about that, because I would like to read about that. I mean, variable lead makes sense depending on what you're trying to do, which is why certain valve gear setups are better in some ways than others, but, you know, everything is a trade-off. That's interesting. I've never heard of a cam-based system to change that. I'd be very curious to hear where you heard that from. Please DM me or email me about that. Delmo Waritco, sorry, Breakman 6 months. Hey Mark, how's everyone doing today? Doing pretty good. Solaris, that's by rail. Yeah. I don't know how you'd get there by rail. Yeah, follow the rivers. Yeah. Middletown Ranch Productions, Joyce Day. It's been time for office hours. Have you heard of S&C 103's Resto at RMNE? And what are your thoughts on it? No. Oh god, it smells like Kenosha's playing. S&C 103. No idea what that is. Let's see if we can look it up. 103 RMNE. Road Museum of New England. Okay. Oh, it's a prairie. All right. That's very friend-shaped. Looks like it needs work in at least in this picture, but Sumter and Choctaw. All right. What a neat dude. That'll be really neat when it gets running. So prairies always feel friend-shaped, so good. Yeah. Have I heard about the restoration? No, not until now. But what are my thoughts on it? Neat. I hope it goes well. And what are my thoughts on it? Blah, blah, blah. Also, fun fact, CPR 1246 is the largest engine in Connecticut, beaten 3025 by 5 feet. That's funny. Solaris, Ren Gill don't give them any ideas. Good. Jordan Freeman, if everyone in the disc call were going to be in the OG MCU Avengers, who would be which Avenger? Ooh.
Oh.
All right. Well, do I just say that Jake is the Incredible Hulk? Explicitly for the stimming intelligence autism vibes? Yes? No? Maybe so? Is Jake here?
I also break shit when I'm really angry, and I really hate that about myself, so...
Alright, yeah, so... Jake's the Hulk.
I'm curious.
Who are all these people? That's a great question. Corey Gibson is fucking... who's in the OG Avengers? I'm sitting over here like... Corey Gibson just needs to be...
Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, and Hawkeye.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, I see Corey and I'm just like, he is whoever the shitpost hero is. I've never seen any of the Deadpool movies, but my brain just goes, that's Corey. Corey is that energy. But
I'm so curious what you would think of me.
But I suppose as Mr. Cran Eater, you have to be Captain America, I guess.
I would probably be something like Deadpool's and Wolverine's love child, something like that.
That is what feels correct to me, but that is not on our option of tables. We have to have the original Avengers list. So yeah, you're probably in the original list. You're probably Captain America because of your service. Thank you. The other two of you, Johnny and Alligamer as Kenosha Peaks. I don't know you guys this well. I don't know everything about you guys. Although it is temptingly funny to say that you're Scarlett Johansson, Johnny, just because of the voice disparity.
If I'm a new enough edition, I'd be some Phase 4 Avenger piece of garbage.
Well, that leaves either Hawkeye or Iron Man.
I mean, I think I'm Iron Man, right?
All right, so then
I'm
we'd
the
have to have
celebrity
Alligamer as
douchebag.
Hawkeye. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he can be Hawkeye, Alligamer. There you go.
I'll be Black Widow. That's fine.
What am I doing here? I shoot arrows. I don't know what's going on.
That was a fun question, Jordan. Thank you. Mike Stanley, hey Hyce, is Andy Muller gonna let you run 2102 when I go out in October? I don't think
Never ask, never say no.
Never ask, never say no. I don't think so. I'm scheduled to chase the train with their media person, with Nick Ozrak. But if they tell me to bring boots and overalls, duh. Be the first American institution to one-up the Australians. Because right now, the Australians have me convinced I should move to Sydney.
I have a Australian friend that is very angry he didn't realize you were there. And I said, dude, he said it's in so many videos. And he's like, yeah, I know. I just wish I would have watched them beforehand.
I got the comments so many times like, oh my god, you're in Sydney. I'm like, no, the video is out. Therefore, I'm back home and I'm editing the video. You know, like, we talked about
Shout
like
out to
for
Shadow.
6 months ahead of time. And people are like, oh my god, I didn't know you were going to be there. And it's like, how much do you watch the channel? Not enough, apparently. That's the answer. But anyway, it's a challenging thing. I think that is just the reality of doing this thing. But
Not a single baby was eaten by a dingo.
no. Although one wombat did become a wom flat. But anyway.
Wom flats.
Very much so. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Wom battered and beaten.
it would be. Would I, drool at the chance of running an engine like the 2102? Duh. Yes. Are they gonna let me run it? I doubt it. But I always
Speaking
doubt
of-
those sorts of things, and then I ended up running the R class. But I think things are a little bit more lax down in Australia than there in the States. But at the
did.
same time, Andy Muller does have the power to do whatever the fuck he wants because it says railroad. So, hi Andy.
Need to figure out when you're going to be out this way, because I got 2 more vacation days I'm going to try to schedule around then.
Let's DM afterwards. I'll let you know.
80.
Sweet roll. Am I going to the K36 100th anniversary at the CAT this summer? It's not on my calendar, and I wouldn't put it on your calendar. Anyway, it's fine. They allegedly now have 2 Ks that are running. I was supposed to be at the CNT earlier to film a video for him, and that whole situation's depressing, and we won't discuss it further. Moritz Schwarzer, could you slow cook on the backhead, ham hock, and beans? Maybe. I'd have to look at how hot the oil can shelf gets on 91. It might be hot enough to do like a slow simmer. Maybe. I'm not sure though. William Adams, there are whistles, then there is your Nathan 6 put through a lathe and flattened out. Example in train crew VC text. Oh Christ.
Oh,
Let's hear this.
scroll down here and find it.
How close are you to figuring out that Thanksgiving dinner?
Not close.
Well, you know how to boil stuff now, at least.
I do. That is not a nice sounding whistle, William. You sure that's a Nathan 6? Is that the one that has 4
said
chimes that are all the same? That got...
He didn't say it was flattened out, so.
I think that's... Yeah. More choices. Come to the dark side. We have Katsunari. Yeah, it would be nice to see. I do really want to come out to Germany. I think there's a huge part, and I've gotten so many comments recently after posting the Australian stuff. A lot of people are talking about how cool shit is in Germany. And I've never realized it because so much of what is cool in Germany only exists on the internet in German. And so for someone like me, I've never been able to experience that, because I don't know what to search for. I know Dampflok, couple words, but that's about it. So it'd be super fun to go. Although I would love to go to Germany, and I'd love to be able to organize it with Brett, because Brett, I don't know if he's quite conversational, but Brett does a reasonable German. He's spoken it a fair bit. I mean, he would say he's not good at all, but he's a lot closer than I am to it, so it'd be fun. But we'll have to see that. So, yeah. Ethan Casterco, sorry. Hey man, I've been an editor on for a while now on this platform, and you've experienced and seen burnout on this platform. Thank you for your video on mental health. Appreciate your openness. Thank you. Appreciate it. It was important. I don't know. So many people put so much stock into people and personalities and who they are and how people are and whatever, and I always just want to be me. And so I try to always be me, always on the channel, and that comes with the territory, and it makes it challenging sometimes too. But I'm trying to keep it real always, in the good, the bad, the ugly, and all that. And hopefully it comes across.
I mean, that's one of my personal things that I prefer about you, is that you're genuine. You're just a genuine human being on here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The big thing, as part of that video, I talked a little bit about some of my unfortunate experiences in mental health land and things that I've experienced that were traumatic, a little bit, and they were caused by an extremely disingenuous person who I thought was my best friend for a long time. After not having somebody I would consider as a best friend for decades before that. And I mean, understanding that, worse than what happened to me as the incident was just the feeling of a knife just going all the way through my soul when I understood really where their colors lied. And, yowza. That was a thing for me where it was so disgusting to feel and perceive that on the backside that it was like, it made me want to throw out everything about being a fake person in every aspect of my life. And this was years ago, and still sucks. It was an awful thing that happened, but it happened quite a while ago at this point now, thankfully. But it's one of those things where the genuineness is key and important to me. Like, I don't want to be fake. I never want to have any of the characters that overlap with that person to anyone, regardless of what I am on this platform or whatever. So that's why I've always strived for that, and sometimes the true asshole and I'm too much of a detailed, nitpicky douchebag and I criticize somebody's work and etc. comes across. But I would rather have that and have it be real than have me sugarcoat and just be always happy or always, oh, look, everything's fine and whatever. And I know many YouTubers who do that because they know it gets views. I will not name names, but I know who they are. And I understand that for the sake of having a career and having a job, but I'm fortunate that I've stumbled into this as a job and a career. But at the same time, I am never going to be fake and unreal about this. I want it to be real. I want it to be legitimate, and it feels like with the response I get from you guys as members and viewers that's a positive thing, except when I'm being a douchebag. But, you know, sometimes I'm a douchebag, and no one's
That's
perfect.
only
and
drunk
that's,
Hyce.
that's how it works. No, I mean, sober Hyce has
No,
been a douchebag too.
no.
But
No, drunk Hyce is one of the nicest Hyces you'll ever meet because I had him one day while we were at Kentucky Steam and he
It's
was
true.
wasted.
a drunk Hyce can be a very loving Hyce. He can also be a very
He
mean
is.
Hyce. It's true.
This is
There are
very
many
true,
things
but
that
He was a
come with
very
that
loving
territory.
Hyce that night.
I just the one stream in particular I remember is whenever you were going over the three new models that they had put out for Railroader. And
If I have been given things that offend me, and I am a drunk Hyce, yeah, the gloves are off with whistleblower jobs. Anyway, that's it's definitely a time. So anyway, but appreciate that. So, Middletown Branch Productions. So I had to abbreviate everything. First engine to run at Essex, so very fun to see running again. Oh, wonderful. Love that. Cableworks, greeting from Louisville, Kentucky. Hey, look. Don't have much
Hey,
to
another
say.
Kentuckian.
Sorry. Don't want to say or ask something rude. You're watching y'all in the same room as your dad, so... Hi, Dad. Hope everyone's having a good day. Yeah. Hi, Cableworks, Dad. Cheers for watching. Hopefully we're not
Cheers, mate.
weirding you out too much by being too personal, but here we are. Spuzz Trains, 19 months conductor. What are the benefits and disadvantages of washers, valve gear, and Stevenson valve gear, and what do I prefer? I assume you mean Walschertz and Stevenson. Stevenson is an annoying bitch to oil. Walschertz is not. Walschertz is better in many ways operationally in that it has less to do with the position of the wheels. Stevenson is rigidly affixed basically at the axle on whatever the eccentrics are on and the valve. And so it floats, and so if you have the shoes wear out and the axle moves, the timing changes, all that stuff, which makes Stevenson not great in some cases. But Walschertz primarily mounted to the frame, and then you're getting your timing information from an adjustable point on the exterior on, you know, one axle, which is really nice. Stevenson has variable lead, which is really cool and operationally an interesting thing as an engineer. And I've utilized it, and Walschertz does not. But I haven't used that because the Walschertz engine I run is her valve gear has been last touched by probably the DNRGW in the 50s. So hashtag flat clapped.
So, how does variable lead work on Stevenson?
That is a great fucking question, and that is why I've not made a video about Stevenson valve gear yet. I don't genuinely understand 100% how it works. The way the eccentrics are set up, the way that the links are set up, something about that setup adds the variability where you get more lead when you're out in the corner and then less lead when you're closer to center, which I assume is due to the geometry of the link, but I don't know. Whereas Walschertz relies on the combination lever to blend things in. So, shrug. I want to make a Stevenson valve gear video, but I want to and all these valve gear videos, but I want to understand it to that better level before I make the video, which is why I haven't. So, which one do I prefer? Walschertz throws me around the cab less than Stevenson, but that could also be piston valves versus slide valves, so I don't know, in my experience. Shrug. I don't know if I have a preference. Maintaining-wise and oiling-wise, Walschertz. Christ. To hell with Stevenson on that front, but none of those advantages or disadvantages are things that have been uniquely like, hey, here's the same engine with one or the other. There's enough differences otherwise that change things on a large scope. The new IKB 4472 K37 kitchen idea, jacket potatoes in the smoke box. Could be fun. It'd be very fun. I wish my sponsor didn't cancel the rest of my spots this year. We were going to do brisket, but that would have involved like $1,000+ of hardwood. And I was only going to do that if I could get it sponsored, and they canceled the rest of my spots this year. So
Savage.
we shall see if K37 returns, or K37 Kitchen returns. When it do, it'll be not sponsored, probably. Kyle Wee 21, Breakman 22 months. You saw some big trains at TMR's crisp yard today. Cool. Andrew Lucia, you sent a diagram of it in the DMs. Okay, L105 things. Yeah. Yeah, let's take a look at this, because I'm interested by this. Yeah. Bell crank above the combination lever. Huh.
The stream can't see anything.
Oh, well, I mean, I can't really see anything either. There's not enough pixels in this to truly...
The only thing I saw was a wide open mouth of confusion.
Yeah. I don't see... You can see the full mechanism best on the second set of drivers. Look at the diagram below it. Okay. I mean, it looks...
That would... something like-
Zoom in more. There's not enough pixels. We're running out of pixels. I'm not seeing it yet. Oh, well, unless it's that. That wouldn't do anything. It's running from the main to the... It doesn't make a lick of sense. Can you open a picture out? Okay, let's take a look.
Oh, can't wait till you get to that one.
Yeah, I still gotta get through the rest of the top chats. Taking a look at that in a second, whatever it is. Open up the PNG. Oh, look, there's pixels now. Okay, combination lever. Yep. This makes more sense than that. Yeah, let's see. Bell crank above the... Okay. Oh, yeah. There's that. And it then runs to... Huh. That's fucking neat. I would love to see that animated, because that would give you variable lead in wall shirts, wouldn't it? Because I need to start drawing on this for people. All right, so what we're talking about is we're talking about variable lead in the valve, which is, you know, how far the valve is ahead of the wheel's position. So you got your eccentric crank and your eccentric rod, and then you've got the expansion link and everything, and then radius rod, and then the combination lever, union link, wabam, that's your wall shirt setup, right? And so normally wall shirts is a fixed lead system because the lead is all adopted by the union link and the combination lever right here by blending in the positioning of the piston. That's how you get it based on how things are set. But this chooch has an extra connection off of the combination lever going up to the bell crank that goes down, that goes back to the tumbling shaft, which informs the position of the radius rod. So if we think about it real fast, if the tumbling shaft were to pivot down and move the radius rod all the way in the corner, this would pivot down, which means this would pivot up to here, which means that would go correspondingly down. And that would allow for more influence. Oh, that's neat as shit. When centered, this is at 90. This is effectively having no input on this system when it's centered like this. But as you induce an angle there, it adds to it in the proper dimension. That's bloody fucking genius. And I've never heard of it. God damn, that's neat as shit. That is neat as shit. Thank you, Andrew.
So if I'm understanding correctly, basically as you adjust the cutoff, you're actually changing the weight with which the eccentric and the crosshead are summed together by the combination lever. Is that right?
Well, so you have the combination lever and the eccentric are always going to be the same. They're always going to be weighted the same because that's how wall shirts is set. But they've added a third variable, which is this. Which, well, no, I guess technically to your point, no, not directly. What you said is not directly true, but it is indirectly true. You're correct. It would change the leverage ratio about the valve rod, and it would be making the radius rod more driving closer to center? Yeah, it would be amplifying what the union link does further from center. Yeah, that's neat. That's very neat. Huh. God. That is not anything I'd ever heard of before today. And that just makes me more pissed at Alfred Perlman for scrapping all the L105s. Because who doesn't want that? Look at that. That's perfection in locomotive form. Does it have it? Can you see it? Can you see that extra rod? Not with that picture, but that's fine. Cool. Thank you, Andrew. More Schwarzer, you can show you a university train lap in Castle, digital HO scale model railway with a relays switchboard sim. Also, lots of English speakers around. Okay, speakers around. All right. Shoot me an email. I'm kind of tentatively thinking either Germany or UK for next year for the international trip. So, and I know I'm already going international, and we might be able to tag on to a personal trip for the lady friend and I. So, let me know. Germany would be easy. Solaris, hey guys, NC and St. L 576 whistle was on NKP 765 around 5 years ago. Don't know if y'all knew about that. There's a video on YouTube. I have seen that. Thank you. Ethan Casturco, welcome to the Fireman. Thank you. Striker, engineer, 27 months. Glad to be here for 27 months. Also happy Pride nerds, and glad Hyce finally got to the Australian modified version of Dollywood on 82 with the 218. Yeah, thing was bitchin'. It's awesome. 94 Chevy, good evening, fellow ESND/T/B/P crew. A few tokens for your mental health. Good sir, take care of yourself. We'll always be here for you. Cheers. Thank you. Audrey Tolles didn't have time to type when he sent the milestone. Makes sense. 94 Chevy, how about a stream to fund the brisket vid? We could potentially do that, but yeah, it's a whole thing. Jackson Wages, you'd sponsor some brisket. Also, can you have some? You'd have to be at the museum for it, and we'd have to figure out a health and safety waiver for cooking in a firebox. Anyway. And a person 723, you remembering right? Baker is like wall shirts, but better, more or less. Not quite, but more or less. Thank you for being a fireman 2 years. Wusky, MS Paint, how we missed you. And Ethan Locke, seeing as you're a maintenance-related employee for BNSF, what methods of NDT/NDI would you recommend someone getting practice in other than all? Asking so I can do so while Uncle Sam is paying for it. You think the railroads do non-destructive testing? Not at the shops, they don't.
I mean,
They
the
do
closest testing I know of.
They do measure oil samples and look for crank material in it, basically, and water samples and all that. But that's about it.
I found out from personal experience you can couple at 7 miles an hour.
You shouldn't, but you can.
Yeah, you shouldn't, but you can.
Yep. I'm gonna
That's a yes.
finish out my page of questions. Oh Christ. Yeah, because these are this old. I'm gonna finish out this page of questions. Got a couple more questions, then I'm gonna jump off. Just gotta get prepping dinner before my lady friend gets home. From Eli Samuel, what are steam deflectors and how do they work and why were they made? Curious about the things we're on 844. Talking about smoke deflectors, the big stuff on the side of smoke boxes. They channel air up towards the stack and then blow the smoke up so it's out of the crew's face. So it's pretty easy.
Oh god, birds.
Oh, it's birds, but the birds aren't birding. Damn you, Stream Elements. You worked earlier this stream. Gonna have to pull up the birds later. Thank you, Court Fred. From Glenbro, what is my opinion? The most niche or underrated narrow gauge railroad in the U.S. or globally? That's challenging.
What is your deal?
Narrow gauge had so many fantastic things all across the globe.
Your deal, bud.
So, specifically, I mean, I always think the Uinta's underregarded because it was as stupid as it fucking was. Not enough people know about it, but those who know. Beyond that, I mean, there's narrow gauge in almost every state in the U.S. And there's a point in time in which you could have gotten in one passenger car in Denver and ridden to northern Montana in the narrow gauge. Continuously. Like, that was the whole thing. And people don't know about it, so, yeah. Good question. Now being 37. Hi, babe. Will I ever name my birds? We named the bird Jack. So, yes. Bob Ross, 4449. What is the most clamped up piece of equipment you've seen at the museum or otherwise, excluding 74? The Chehalis and Centralia 15. It's a bomb. It was made in a bomb factory. It's a bomb. It's out of service now, thankfully, but it was a bomb. Final hazard, outside of ridiculous awesome steel from Polar Express. What if drifting is snow locomotive? How does it work? Saw placard and steam engine cat that red crack throttle when drifting. So crack throttle when drifting is to make sure that you're not drawing a vacuum in the cylinders on a non-snifter equipped locomotive, which is the drifting valve that the Australians had, which was really neat. Yeah, drifting in a snow locomotive. That's the point. You cannot drift a locomotive. Although I do want to try and see if the quarter and counterbalance setup on a locomotive could allow you to steer on a lake, which I will try with my FN3 locomotive this Christmas. So, anyway. That's that page of top chats from the thing. We're only halfway through on that document. Didn't make a dent tonight. You guys were very kind with the top chats. Very much appreciate it. We're going to get through the last of these and get out of here. Let's see. Lo-fi camping guy. Hey there. Hyce and all. Gotta say, stream's a great way to chill after your first day back at work as a non-intern. Happy Juneteenth and happy Pride. same to you. Thank you, my friend. Quirt Fred, again, thank you for the 50 memberships. Alligamer, one more top chat. Are you sure about that? And Ethan Locke, dang, fancy airplane science being useless. Yeah, it's fancy airplane science is not helpful in Trainland, you'll find. Safety factor, yes, for some things. But choo-choos are not the best.
Oh no, it broke again.
It worked for Alice in Chains. Sorry, Court. I don't know what you did that made the birds not work, but yay APIs.
And now we need to update the list.
Christ on a bike. Oh yeah, I said already that I needed to update the list. So if you got birds, get them out. Kathleen Schwartz, 6 months as a brakeman. Thank you. Steam Power, take a peek at my DMs for the funny. We'll assume that you're the one person that's not there. How to drive a steam locomotive with Hide the Pain, Harold. I'm not going to watch that on stream for the first time. We will potentially watch that another time. But thank you. Anyways, guys, it was not Montezuma Tuesday. It was supposed to be. Thanks to Salt for chugging dick. Great program you got. Anyway, we're going to jump off here. I'm going to prep some dinner stuffs. And I appreciate all of you guys for the love and support tonight. And
Another 50. Alligamer, come on, man.
Hi, Alligamer. How we doing? More birds. I'll keep streaming if the birds keep coming. I mean, you know, that's just how that works.
That's $600 tonight.
Dude, the birds. Hey, man, I do want to buy a house. So,
I understand that. I want to buy a house too.
You are in a better position geographically than I think, to do those sorts of things. But
considering that everybody wants it, like if you buy a piece of land around here, the cheapest a piece of land sells for right now, that's an acre, is like 180,000. That is completely undeveloped.
An acre?
Yeah.
An acre in Denver, anywhere where I'm attempting to buy a house for a quarter acre of land is about $500,000.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. No.
So,
I'm good. I don't want to be there at all.
Yep.
I think we're gonna need more birds.
We're gonna.
I don't want an acre or I want a garage big enough to build a 240 in, and enough space in the backyard that I could put up a shop and then have the full 240 live at some point. I'm
gonna let this out of the bag. I've got a place that I'm looking at. It's 1.6 mil, but it is 188 acres with 2 houses already developed on it and a bunch of more flat spots for more houses. And it's farmland. If you want to have depression, just look at Denver on Zillow. It's not as bad as some places, but it's not great. And your frame, it wouldn't be a stream if you didn't pop in right at the end. Correct. And Eric Brinker, 5 more memberships. Thank you guys, everyone. Appreciate you so much. Gonna jump off and make the food thing starts to happen. So we'll catch you all next time. Peace.